On Tuesday, when James Gunn officially announced some of the first few projects during the Chapter 1 slate of the DC universe called Gods and Monsters, he specified how the Flash movie would act as a reset for the universe and kind of transition into the new projects and kind of leads in direction and tone that would encapsulate the DC universe going forward. And it's kind of it was very implied, and people knew that the Flash movie would have some ramifications in the universe, whether it be a blanket reset or kind of a soft reboot of some sort. Because initially, it was gonna be a more comic accurate Flashpoint story with rumored Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Thomas Wayne Batman, but then they kind of transitioned into having Michael Keaton act as that role in the movie. And initially, they were gonna have Michael Keaton become the main DCU Batman after the events of the Flash movie, as he was going to appear in Batgirl. He was going to have his own solo movie with Batman Beyond, but we're not sure if it was going to have Terry McGinnis or not. But and then that's how they're going to introduce Batgirl, Supergirl, and kind of make them the main focus of the DC universe. But now that's not happening anymore ever since James Gunn and Peter Safran took over. So I guess with this reboot, that it's kind of gonna just kind of transition to new actors, specifically with the new Batman and the new Superman, but also kind of keep elements and actors that kind of were in their own little corner of the DC universe. That'd be with the Suicide Squad characters, Peacemaker, Amanda Waller, Aquaman, Shazam. As it was stated that some of those actors, specifically being Jason Momoa, Ezra Miller, Gal Gadot, and Zachary Levi, how they're still open to play those characters in the future. And because of the fact that they were in their own kind of separate corner that didn't really connect to much, that they have the opportunity to be well a part of this new universe, specifically with Blue Beetle and all that. And with the Flash, with the whole timeline reset, because they're still kind of contemplating on the idea of keeping Ezra Miller as the Flash, which I think is one of the very few mistakes that they should not go forward with. I've stated before, I was never really a fan of Ezra Miller's Barry Allen. And I mean, I honestly think they should probably just recast the Trinity in general, including Wonder Woman. I have nothing against Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, but if they're kind of keeping actors that can well transition into this new universe, that kind of have solo movies that kind of do their own thing, I don't know if Wonder Woman specifically could be a part of that, or that could count. Because Wonder Woman 84, not only was it not really well received, it also kind of contradicts and kind of messes with the timeline a bit, with her flight powers and some events that happened in that movie that are just never mentioned in BVS or Justice League, that just wouldn't really mash up well. So I mean, yeah, I'd probably just recast the Trinity. But if they're not, it's fine, I guess. I mean, we're still gonna do main focus on whoever the new Batman and Superman actor is, with the Brave and the Bold, and this new introduction to the Bat family. And with the Flash timeline reset, it's always wondering that if the Flash family could bring an introduction as well. Because I mean, if they're still keeping Ezra, I mean, I think a good way to go around that is introduce Wally West, and you can really have a main focus on him, build him up as a character, because a lot of hardcore DC Comics fans really prefer Wally West over Barry Allen, because they kind of grew up with him, because he was the main Flash of the events of Crisis on Infinite Earths. But yeah, it's just kind of talking about the ramifications of the Flash timeline reset and how that could happen. Obviously he'll go back in time, save his mother, change the timeline, and that'll be that Flashpoint universe. And then go back in time again to that will cost over a reset. You break something and then you glue it back together, but it's not going to be the exact same thing as it was. Kind of in that Flash episode where Jay Garrick was explaining that timeline rules and aspect to Barry Allen.
This coffee cup right here, think of it as the space-time continuum. Whenever you go back in time, it breaks. You can reset the timeline. You can try to fix it. But no matter how hard you try, it's never going to be exactly how it was.
But with Blue Beetle and Aquaman, I guess, being the first entries in this new timeline, the chapter will officially start in, or I guess the big project would be obviously in 2025 with Superman Legacy, and then kind of go off from there and really emphasize on interconnectivity more so than the previous DCEU, as Walter Hamada kind of was having solo projects that kind of do their own thing, really trying to emphasize the idea of a multiverse, while with this universe still might keep the idea of a multiverse, but definitely be more interconnected and build to a larger narrative going forward with the future of the DC universe.